Welcome, and now let's observe what I refer to as the theater of the soul, the archetypes I mentioned earlier. That is, the many faces, numerous faces that comprise our psyche, which would be the only medal, the singular distinction that defines us. Many faces. I would like to remind myself that our psyche, all things considered, is fundamentally contradictory in nature. We are the embodiment of a contradiction that is perpetual, unchanging, and is manifested through the functions of these fundamental patterns or prototypes, which define and shape our existence. For this reason, when there is then the disturbance, the discomfort, the extreme pathology, one can reach schizophrenia. That is the schizoid attitude that also happens in normality. Let's say it all. When we are somewhat ambiguous in specific attitudes, that is when we express our contradiction. Now we comprehend the psychic mechanism. Here is the place from which all of this can originate. So what exactly are the archives? At university, you study, you take a whole exam on archives. So imagine, and not always do you come out of there. All of this could also be seen as the motivation to live daily, but it's important to exercise caution. One can live a very intense life, right? Be careful, we see all these components, but is it sufficient to be happy? Is it sufficient to possess all of this in life to say in the end, I have been happy, I am currently happy and content with my life, and I obviously have it too. I would speak more positively about self-realization because we discuss disorders, we discuss anxiety, but what is the root cause of anxiety and why do we experience it? Anxiety arises in the end, and the different disorders manifest because we have a longing to self-realize, to feel fully alive and present, to be actively involved and play the role of protagonists, moment by moment, in our lives. In the world, in life, in society, that without others we are nobody. Let's look at this. When someone tells me that they would like to live on a deserted island, to feel like the master of the island, of the world, to do whatever they want, I look at nature all day, every year of my life. No, it does not work like that. Happiness is not achieved in this way. You can stay for 1 day, 2, 3, and then you die. Let us now proceed to examine one by one these archetypes, these symbols, these forces, and these vital energies that keep us motivated and drive us to always take action in all the days of our lives. I, organized in a group of 12, are essentially the divine beings of Olympus, derived from the mythology of ancient Greece. Every individual expresses a unique strength, a deep motivation to exist and thrive in this world. Every single component, a virtually primordial image of our existence that is repeated moment by moment, that urges us as if knocking on the door and saying, look, I desire this, or there is the other one that says, look, I desire this other. No, be cautious, I come first, I desire this. This is how psychiatry operates, or attention. To start with Aphrodite, look at the Aphrodite. Aphrodite is easy. What does Aphrodite represent? The concept of love, right? So what does it express for us? A force that knocks on the door of our soul and tells us that we need sex, coupling, attachment, therefore the complicity of a partner, therefore to have a relationship at least with a partner, okay? You know what I mean? The frutita is this, it is love. Then we have Aries, when he pushes the door. This gentleman knocks on the door. He is one of the most imposing. Be careful, Aries. He is not just the god of war, because it is a bit incorrect to call him that. And we can say the god of aggressiveness, because he represents something worse, the worst part of us humans. Aries is expressed, for example, in our life, in our daily life, with that sport, long live the sky that there is sport, right? You become a Juventus fan to win because the team wins more. Here, I'll give you an example. Or you do it, you play the game to win, right? And this is the part, let's say, the best aspect of this God. In actuality, Aries, let's assume, at the very least, history has taught us that we consistently have an inclination towards war. So, he is always thirsty for blood. He prefers the violence that is found in war, but war is not intended. It's the most aggressive, violent part of war. This is now, and this conditions us a bit. It conditions us in the sense that we become competitive. What we do, we desire to have the final word and strive to ensure our viewpoint prevails. We always desire to be at the focal point of attention because aggression is also demonstrated in this manner, and so on and so forth and so on. Then we have Zeus, God, the chief of the gods. And what does it represent within our psyche? What is the reason behind this archetype of Zeus choosing to knock on the door of our soul? What is it that you want from us? He wants us to have a successful personality, while we aspire to be successful in our endeavors. If we are not the boss, if we do not become the boss, if we cannot become leaders, he wants us to at least join the boss, and therefore still emerge as winners through him. You can give a political example, but you can give 1,000 examples. You follow a winning politician, a winner. You follow a party, a political orientation. Why do we identify with that personality, with that charisma? So, in practice, it is the cult of personality, and it knocks on our door just to inform us, look, you have to be someone. You cannot remain anonymous. Here, this is the cult of personality. Then we have Estia. Estia is the goddess of the hearth. This is pleasant, a figure within us when it exerts pressure on us and taps on the door. What is the desire of our goddess Estia? She wants the house, protection, affection, the warmth of the people, the family. These are the people who are most inclined to this idea, precisely those who consider marriage, starting a family. Not everyone has this grasp or understanding of it, but they are the ones Estia seeks, the ones who can fulfill her wishes and bring her the happiness she longs for. Then we have Ernest. Ernest is a very peculiar figure. They say he is the god of poetry and music, right? In fact, Ernest is the one who knocks on our door and tells us, look, you have to have fun. I want to have fun. I want to move. I want to play. I want to play an instrument. If you can't play an instrument, dance. If you can't dance, try to still follow a certain genre of music. Become an expert in a genre of music. In some way, you have to be someone. Every archetype pushes us to be someone in life. So the god of music and poetry, Ernest is the messenger of the gods, would not be the Mercury of the Roman era. Apollo, the god of beauty. Regarding art, what motivates us to engage in this divine presence within our psyche that compels us to create? It compels us to generate. This is the god of creativity, the god of harmony, who rejoices in seeing beauty, but also being beauty. We don't want to look beautiful. We don't fix ourselves. We don't go to the hairdresser. We don't want the dress that characterizes us. We don't want this. This is clear. So, Apollo is the deity of beauty, but we are discussing the theater of our soul, that is, the god Apollo informs us, observe, I desire you to be an individual appreciated aesthetically, at the very least. And art, naturally, if you are unable to direct, sculpt, design, make arrivals, in any case, do your best and strive to be creative in any field, even if you lack the ability to. Invent. Why don't you make inventions? Leonardo was not only an artist, but for example, Poseidon, the god of the sea, of the oceans. What drives us to make this symbol, this god of the sea? When does he knock at our door? Well, he expresses the pleasure of water. We were not born in water, it is clear. Where do we go on vacation? It is preferred. This is a consolidated statistic. The sea is always preferred to the mountains. If we see it, this idea also exists. So water, everything related to water. Not only the sea, but also, it compels us to take action for those who are predisposed, for those who have this passion on both the right and left. This is Poseidon, Artemide, the way of nature, and its undeniable power. It is a natural and obvious inclination that we also desire to have these spaces of freedom in our lives. When Artemis knocks on our door, what does the goddess Artemis want from us? He wants precisely to enjoy, to make us enjoy, that we enjoy the landscapes, what nature offers. This, for example, is the goddess of environmentalists, to understand, who has this passion for animals, for the environment. In practice here, to go a little deeper into the discussion, they are those people who are called free spirits. They are those free spirits that we often encounter enough. Often there are enough. You are not born. You are born with these predispositions. Attention, you do not become. Then we go to the goddess Hera. The goddess Hera is the goddess. In terms of jealousy, she was unfortunately plagued by envy due to her partner Zeus's constant betrayals. As the Roman counterpart, she is known as the goddess of jealousy for this very reason.
Why is the goddess knocking on our door? What does she want?
This deity is connected to the ego. This deity desires us to maintain our possessions. So the ego desires, when it obtains, when it conquers its possessions, it is not very content if it gives them to others. It is akin to a fundamental instinct I am referring to. So why those things he has conquered? Maybe that he has acquired with effort and so forth. In the end, represent him and his accomplishments. They are things with which one practically identifies. This is the idea that does not only concern the relationship with the partner. Obviously, it is important also in that context, but it concerns the whole sphere of our behavior.
The god Hephaestus. Hephaestus is the worker. What does he represent?
What does Hephaestus want from us when he knocks on our door? Even this god, he is the god of dexterity.
He's the DIY god. Many share passion.
They have a national equipment in the house. They do wonderful things. I am not carpenters, I am not architects, I am not plumbers, but they do extraordinary things. I have met many friends with DIY, they even build houses. Well, but there we are at very high levels, but I have these friends. So the god of operability, what they want to do, they don't spend a minute without wondering what they have to do. Athena. Athena is the goddess of wisdom and intelligence. What is the reason behind this powerful image, this immense strength, and this vibrant energy knocking on our door and seeking our attention? Why does the goddess Athena knock on our door? The goddess of intelligence. The goddess Athena represents the cult of intellect. The goddess Athena constantly urges us to discover solutions to our problems. It is Athena who generates. So within us there is this drive to find solutions to everyday problems, but not only that, but also for long-term ones. This is intelligence anyway. In this situation, the goddess Athena has a desire for us to cultivate intelligence in some manner or form. If the environment, if the family did not push us, did not educate us to study, to obtain a degree, etc. So this idea still requires us to put in a lot of effort. It desires for us to avoid being the lowest ranked in our class, huh?
He desires. Sadly, the environment.
Here, because there is always something missing for us when we see a graduate, not me. Number. All right, yes. Finally, Demetra. The manner in which life and death occur, what does it symbolize? For this it is simple. It represents the meaning of life, even of death, but at the same time it represents the impulse for rebirth, the desire for rebirth. I mean, don't want to die. No, never. You never want to die. Even if one is educated, if they do yoga, do all the meditation practices and so on, like Jung, better than Jung, even if they are more knowledgeable and skilled in areas such as education, yoga, and meditation, they still do not desire death. He mentioned a couple of days prior to his departure that he was extremely proud to witness what lay ahead of him. And I went beyond. I conveyed the message of joy, serenity, of this fateful and pivotal moment. This is something that belongs to us and holds great significance in our lives. Our weapons theater, our psyche's theater. Hence, the initial query emerges, what is the importance of this duality between the two? Let's reason by absurdity. If we have all these components satisfied, right? That busts us, and we meet it. We possess the funds to accomplish all tasks. We have individuals who aid us in achieving success. We are fortunate, we possess this, we have been. There is no person on the planet who can make this claim, but he admitted that it exists. Let's provide an example. Berlusconi, who is the wealthiest individuals globally, but also the most influential, because they possess both power and wealth. They are content individuals. Basically, the question is, does happiness exist in the first place? If it does, what is required? Is this sufficient, all the things we mentioned? Jung made a request for it. The answer?